You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds is hosted by Tatiana King and DJ Benhameen.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
Welcome to the For All Nerds Show.
And welcome, Internet, to another episode of For All Nerds, the podcast where we talk about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. And it is I, one of your hosts, Tatiana King, a.k.a. The Little Mermaid, a.k.a. It Was All a Dream Fire, Kodak Blackwood, Scroll Obsidian, Doc Ocky, Tesseract Thompson, The Book of Ashanti, T'Challa Bread, LaWandaVision, and Tatiana Kang the Conqueror, all right? Trying to throw a new one in there this week. And as always, I'm here with my lovely co-host,
Portia Patterson, aka Captain Plandit, aka officially time chopped and screwed, aka Portia the Grown Ass Witch, aka Raekwon Maximoff, aka Stay with the Agatha Harkness.
Listen, you always are leveling up every week with the AKAs, and I appreciate you. I just love it. I just love the energy and the creativity. So kudos to you, Divination Witch. As usual, y'all are here to join us for our review of Agatha All Along. This week, we are reviewing, recapping, and giving you our reactions to episode 7, titled, what, Portia? Death's Hand in Mine. Okay. First of all, we got to pour one out. We got to pour one out for a real one. My nigga. Rest in peace. R.I.P. Rip to Lilia.
We keep questioning true deaths, and we didn't see the lady hit the sword.
First of all, Portia, you're the first one who was explaining to us every time we hear a new song at the end of the episode that usually it means someone died, okay?
But we've been questioning these true deaths.
Well, we got to question everything because this is Marvel, right? But in the meantime, it seems like homegirl is
she did it.
She's out the paint. So first of all, like I said, I want to give my condolences, my sadness. When I say, and I watched this episode twice like I always do, when I say this shit actually hit worse the second time around, like, it's bad when you watching, like, obviously you don't know what's about to happen, and you are just, watching it with fresh eyes, and you're reacting with a fresh reaction to everything, and it's like, oh my God. But then when you know what's about to happen, watching the second time, and then the clues and everything starts clicking into place, I felt like Lilia watching it the second time. I felt that realization of life and everything that I've been given and all the visions I've been seeing and all the information that I know. And now the pieces are falling into place. The gaps are being filled, as she said in this episode. And at the very end, just for that shit to go down. First of all, that was honorable as shit. That was wild honorable. I dead ass felt like I wanted to cry a little bit of tear because I was in shock the first watch. I was in shock. I don't know about you.
I feel like it was very rewarding to be like in a place where you're like, you hold how the puzzle's supposed to be assembled, and you hold the pieces and you're finally clicking them together. So that kind of feeling of like, boop, I finally got it together. And so the way she kept repeating, I was falling throughout the episode, and I was like, she was working out the whole time what was the answer, and then she got to it. I was falling. That's the answer to my question.
You was fall, and with all the triple quadruple entendres, you was falling through time. You was falling, obviously, to your own death. We'll see. I really hope it's not true, but we don't know. This is the road. The road is sketchy. Just falling through your understanding of life. Just falling. I keep on falling. all the time. And I don't know, man, Portia. I'm like a little depressed now. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I wasn't really sad when Alice passed. I was just like, I mean, I was like, damn, that's kind of a fucked up way to go. But the way they kind of zoomed in on her crispy charred body, I was just like, y'all not taking it seriously. Whereas with Lilia, they took this the fuck seriously. And I felt that.
They set it up over the whole, like, as soon as there was an episode with Lilia in it, they were setting us up to feel the way about Lilia going out. I thought because of her flashback memory in the potion episode that so what is that, episode 3? That she might get a scary death because of how, like, creepy that was.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that it wasn't like, they didn't do her that way. But I also, I don't know. She's a real one for taking out the 7 with her.
Mm-hmm.
She's a real one for making sure everyone got ahead of her, including especially Jen.
Mm-hmm.
I like how their relationship landed. I feel like so much of this episode and the season so far was set up for us to really care about what happens with Lilia. And here we are in memoriam for her.
You know what was interesting? Well, there's so many interesting things going on, but when we talk about, and we're going to get to the other explanation about death, but when we talk about the deaths that have occurred throughout this season, and I was looking at the episodes, it felt like every other trial somebody died. So like I was looking, episode 3, that's when Sharon, Mrs. Hart unalives herself. Well, I keep saying unalives herself. She didn't unalive herself. She just didn't make it through the trial. She's unalived. Then episode 5, I think it's episode 5 or it's episode 6. Which one is that? That says
5 is before, like 6 was last episode with Billy.
Okay. Episode 5 is where Alice goes, right? Where Alice gets unalived, right? Episode 4, that was the music episode, like where it was kind of a fake out about basically Billy / William, whoever he is, passing out for, losing blood or whatever, but he gets saved. And then now we have this. So I feel like it's episode, what we say, episode 3, episode 5, and now episode 7.
The odd number.
The odd numbers. Every odd number, somebody gets the bad one. And I'm just like, but who's left? Jen. Jen is the only one left that's not Agatha.
I really think all
Rio
of them deserve more than to be like the token coven witches that get taken out along like Agatha and Billy's journey.
That's what they've been doing so far. And again, to your point, this could just be like at the very end of the road, perhaps everyone comes back. It's not really the true death, but the way they doing it is looking like Jen is next.
Wouldn't it be funny if we get to like episode 9 and then like it's a boys the men, so we've come to the end.
They might because this is half musical, damn near.
Right.
Oh God. Wait. And also Lilia said, she was like, well, you're the path ahead, Jen. What has been happening?
Is Jen the path ahead? Like,
oh God, what you about to say now? Come on, Portia.
I just don't like it because it's a path ahead. It's not the path back home. So is Jen the path? Like, can they not move forward without Jen, or can they? The next trial is going to include like this. Is the last time we're going to see Jen because she's only the path forward. She's not the path through or back home.
It's that part. You know why? Because she already had her trial.
Right.
The very first trial was her trial.
But she still hasn't received her powers back, which Alice had set into her power. And then Leah being out of sequence was her re-tapping into her power that she had when she was younger.
Okay.
So we still haven't seen Jen have her power up. So
Did we not see her have her power?
We saw her do a potion. We saw her like do.
And we saw her save Teen.
But that was also with the potion. We didn't see her actually have her powers. Like she was talking about, she wants to have her powers.
I thought the potions were her powers. No, I thought her being such a like lit bartender was her power. Like that's what I thought.
I feel like there's supposed to be a physical manifestation of her power.
Oh, that's a good point. We'll see what happens. I don't know. The other big thing, the biggest thing next to Lilia that happened was, of course, the reveal that we have been saying all damn day. Who is Rio? Where is Rio? Why is Rio? And everybody on the internet been saying this. Yes, we've been seeing the comments. We hear you, but we wanted to find out for ourselves. It is now 100% confirmed that Rio is Death. And if I don't know if you know this from the comic books, Death is a major, major character in the comic books for Marvel. Particularly, she has the entity has the most toxic relationship with
Thanos.
One Thanos. Yeah. And we all know the great Thanos who, got unalived, while he was, frying some plantains in his little cabin on the side. So I don't know if this means anything that has to do with Thanos going forward. As far as I know, he is in the true death or whatever, but it's just interesting them bringing this particular character back and exactly what do they plan on doing with this character. I mean, obviously there's a relationship there or was a relationship there with Agatha, continues to be, but what is the overarching point of Death's presence? Do you have an idea?
I'm sitting here with like thematically, why did they put that into this series, right? Like we know, like, and we look at the end credits and then like also think of like witch lore, witches have been highly associated with like the devil and like hell, and that's been
Mephisto,
right? But death is its own thing, and I'm trying to think of the last time we've seen a cosmic entity in the MCU like that. Wasn't that Thor Love and Thunder where we saw like eternity or something like that?
At the end when Lady Thor. Yeah.
So I like that we're getting these bigger cosmic beings showing up in the Marvelverse, but it's very interesting that a cosmic being like Death is showing up in a TV show about witches. I think there has to be more to it than just she's here to claim bodies because her ex is here.
Yeah, it has to, obviously there has to be more to it, but I'm like, what? And that's the great part about this. Like, we don't have to have the answers right now, but it makes you think about what the true involvement really means, right? For even the rest of the MCU potentially, right? Because as mentioned, this is a major character in the comic books. And again, this series, Agatha All Along, has been very much pulling from deep comic book stuff. So it's just interesting now that they're being injected directly into the MCU. And what does that mean for the rest of all the other stories, if anything?
It's also funny. Well, I feel like no matter what, it's brilliant casting because Aubrey Plaza is going to be really fun to have around.
I love her. She's like so
a recurring character throughout the universe. So I think that's smart.
Yeah.
I think Agatha Death. Yeah, Agatha being Elphaba in this trial and then saying that, oh, this character was inspired by me, and it's like it's funny, like, really, was the Wicked Witch of the West / Elphaba actually inspired by Agatha, or is she on it? Especially when you hear Lilia call Rio / Death the original Green Witch.
What was that about? I mean, what was she just saying? Like, and maybe this is more witchy type stuff. Like, when she's talking about the Green Witch, she just means, is that just about because of death and of Earth? Like, what is that? I don't understand. What does that mean?
Is it the Green Witch, like the green powers? Is it the Green Witch, like Elphaba, like the Green Witch, like the original green? Like, what?
But the Elphaba was just green. Like, what does that mean? Just to be green? Is that a particular power? Are you from a particular planet? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is that? Does that mean anything, or is it just a descriptor?
Right. It feels, especially when you think about like, who have we seen in the MCU have green power set? And that's Loki, basically.
Oh.
And Rio is a trickster. So is like Rio like Death / Rio, are they interrelated? Now Loki is kind of like a cosmic being because he's holding the whole timeline together.
Portia, I clutched my purse. Not you putting that one together. My God, the Jenga blocks you pulled just now. What? I didn't even think about it that way. Oh, see, we going crazy in the chat. What up to the
We
chat?
putting green motifs together.
YouTube.com/4ONerdsTV. I know y'all are like, what did you just say? That was actually really good, Portia. Oh, that's intriguing. Oh, we gotta think about this one. Are you about to say anything else that's like cool as shit like that? Like, I didn't even think like that.
I don't know. Maybe my mind is somewhere else in the time, and I will come back to something.
Okay. Well, listen,
Oh my
you're
God.
Lilia. What?
That was so devastating to see. When we got to see Lilia trying to warn Alice, the full sentence of her being like, Alice, and she finished her thought for Jen, realized she was having the ability to change the outcome of Alice's life, told Alice, don't, and then tried to save Agatha, was to Agatha.
Yeah.
And we've seen it when we watched through the episodes, but knowing that she was doing her best to try to change, I was like, yo, this is so devastating.
I'm just trying to understand. Like, I understand. Well, it's two things I understand. I understand that it's just the framing and the writing. Again, damn good writing. But also, I feel like everybody that is being unalived right now, they are tragic. They are so fucking tragic. You see how Sharon, I always talk about how Sharon, Mrs. Sashmish's heart is so tragic. And she was just trying to, she's just trying to function. She out here trying to function. She gets dragged down here and gets taken out. We see Alice living her life with a cursed, damn near, really her entire life, and trying to just live again. And then her finally finding a way to get rid of it, just to, be, the succubied out of existence. And then now with this, truly, Lilia's story is devastating. Like, it's heartbreaking as fuck. Like, I really like the fact that they took it back to her child. They took it back to, I assume that was Sicily, where she was, training and learning and all this other stuff. And for them to reveal like the understanding of who she is and really how powerful Lily is, because for her to be a character that she says she lives her life out of sequence, like that's technically a very powerful character when you're talking about the MCU as it currently stands. You're talking about the multiverse and people who don't live in the same timelines and can see all the different paths and stuff like that. Like, that's on some high level shit. And that is on some a little bit OP level shit. The only problem is, like, for her, for a long time, she couldn't control it, right? Or as her maestro, her teacher, was telling her, like, it's not for you to control, it's just for you to see. And what she was supposed to do was that see an action on it, not necessarily control.
Yeah, and it was like cool and sad that she told Jen, she was saying, time doesn't work the way everyone thinks it does.
Right.
So it's not even that she's the one who's time displaced. She's seeing time the way that time actually functions.
Right.
And everyone else is seeing time as something else. So it's sad because in her conversation with Jen, we get that kooky moment question.
Am I kooky or am I wispy?
Right. And then she confronts Jen, she's like, you just don't look at me like that. You just see me as this doddering old baddie lady. And I appreciate that Jen was like, well, tell me, for real, what am I supposed to be seeing? What am I missing?
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate they got to have that conversation. I think that's also a conversation about how we disenfranchise older folks and how they receive their memories and where they go whenever they're thinking. And I really just appreciated the layers to that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but not the whole thing with her having similar themed outfits, but always a little bit different. So in this one, everyone is
different witches,
but they're all known to be a terrorist kind of witch,
except for Lilia,
who is Glinda the Good Witch,
right?
In this, to everyone else's even
Billy.
Even I'm just laughing because I think teen is actually an accurate positioning or nickname for moniker for him, because he his question, he doesn't even know who he is.
Right.
That was his tarot question. It's like, who am I? Am I Billy or am I William? So him being teen actually is fitting because it's like, no matter what that is, who he is. And it kind of killed me a little bit when Lilia called him teenager.
Yeah.
And Jen said, dang, she called him by his full
Yeah,
name.
yeah. No, it was cute. It was cute.
Teenager.
No, that was super cute. I do like that you mentioned just their characterizations, right? And oh my God, I'm so sad about Lilia. Like, Lilia's story is so beautiful in the same way that it is so heartbreaking.
And we didn't even get her full story. We just got
Right.
the parts that were interrelated with like the
Right.
time that she's currently, what she was currently.
Right. And we like for her to be able, it's like that idea of someone finally coming into their power and doing something noble as fuck and helping everyone progress and saving people's lives, multiple people, and getting rid of the threat or presumably getting rid of the threat and doing all you can to make sure other people make it. And then you take the L. Like, that's hard. And also, like, I always thought she was like a quirky person from the beginning. And much like how she told Jen, like, you just think I'm this weird old lady. It's just like, yeah, I thought that of you in the beginning because I wasn't understanding. I wasn't taking the time to understand who you were. And as each episode went on and you saw, like, remember we kept saying, like, wait a minute, there's more to Lilia than meets the eye. There's obviously more, but there's more into what it means in this story, right? And more into what it means to be a family, a coven, all this other stuff. Like, she has so many parallels to things in real life. Like, I like the fact that you mentioned that it's also really indicative of how like older people are treated or people with it's not really a mental issue. What is that called? Like when you forget things, dementia, things like that, where it's just like they're treated a particular way and very a lot of times very negatively and not given the grace or the patience to, be a person, right? And you saw that happen with her over and over again. And even us as the audience, maybe to some degree, had been doing the same thing to her until everything got revealed, right? And then by that time, she gets taken away from us, like on some George R. R. Martin shit. So, again, just it made me so fucking sad, and I did not feel any less sad the second time.
That's also a read on like a word on treatment of older folks. Because like sometimes you don't recognize, like
their importance until they're gone.
who they are and like
Yeah.
what they mean to you until you get to like that moment with them whenever they're kind of rehashing things with you. And you're like, oh, you were this whole time. You didn't show. Why didn't you? I'm just now getting to
Right.
know you in that way.
Right.
And then right when you're getting to know them in that way, that's when it's like it kind of feels like sometimes they're freed a little bit by the idea that they don't have to be around to hold over like whatever facade they felt like they needed to keep up or whatever. So they start like releasing.
She looked free at the end, right? And the episode started how it ended. Like you saw her death in the beginning, technically, but in the very beginning of the episode, she had this look of fear on her face.
At the beginning of the
now
episode, she was falling down. In the end, she's falling up.
Is that what's happening? Oh, I see, because it's upside down, so she's falling up. You're right. The tower got flipped. She is falling up. So she's going to heaven. Oh, Portia, why you had to say that?
It's just that I don't like that shoe. I don't like it at all. I just don't like that. It really feels like they're getting pushed out of here. And like for Agatha, like
I miss my auntie Lilia, y'all. No, that's messed up. Oh God.
The table said, your path winds out of time.
Winds out of time.
And
not runs out of time, winds out of time.
Winds. And that's her life. And so if only it was like the clue was sitting there right there from the beginning of the trial that was not a trial for anyone but Lilia. And the tarot card should have told you that from the jump.
Right.
But like the table was like, no, for real, this is Lilia's trial.
You're supposed to be reading yourself.
And when she sat and went through all the cards and they were all interrelated with the cards that she had pointed out throughout the different episodes.
That shit was fire. That That ate so damn bad. Like the way they went back to the scenes, and remember, because we would call them out as we've been reviewing these episodes. Not really, and I have no idea what the correlation was, because they were like kind of saying what was happening in the moment, but they also didn't make sense for her to be shouting them out all randomly. It all adds up now. The math is mathing. And I was just like, y'all ate with that. The writers, y'all did that shit. Y'all did that shit for real. I thought what was interesting, Portia, you mentioning that table and the inscription on it, and how it was really about her to begin with. Immediately when I saw that, I said, Portia fucking said this. I don't even know if you remember or even know what I'm about to say. When we did last episode, when we did Billy's flashback or whatever about his life, and they was in the bar mitzvah and she was reading him, and he said, well, wait a minute, are you reading me? Or did he say something like that? Like, are you supposed to be giving me a reading, or are you reading yourself, right? You said that. You kept pointing that out, that like she was really giving her own reading, and the things that she was pulling was really for herself. Like, remember I said she pulled a card where I said that the meaning of that card was you're staying away from, you're trying not to transform. You're trying to keep away transformation or change and things like that. And I had said that card wasn't really so much for Billy. He wasn't resisting transformation. He didn't know about the transformation. She was resisting that shit. Okay. Just like how she put the sigil on him. That was her resistance. Those were her cards. She had been reading herself the whole time. And that's what she had to fucking do again right here. That shit was so cold to me.
It's also cool that, like, sure, movie magic, whatever, but the deck, when she's ready to pull it, is the cards are there in the order that they need to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the cards, like, we noted that they all came up during different episodes, but she's pulling them out. Like, she's not shuffling through, like
she didn't
have
shuffle.
the deck out open in front of her. She's like, nope, boom, they're here where I need them to be. Boom, I pull them, putting them down. And I love that, like the teen said that tarot is all about intuition, and Agatha was like, no, they're all a con, and interpretation is whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when the deck was in a real practitioner's hand, then she was able to use it to change the outcome of, like, the Salem 7 being able to even get at them. She was like, not only did I read the deck and then get them safe, I'm able to even power the room in a way that I'm not supposed to, because the road is supposed to have adverse conditions for if you linger around. But
correct,
I'm
and it's not supposed to be there. The 7, they're not supposed to. I said that was again. She went in, like, I love, and that's why I said it was also so beautiful. Like, her coming into herself, and you saw the power of Lilia. Like, she looked commanding in that way. Like, she knew what she had. She knew what needed to be done and did. And I appreciate that. And I liked, like, when we say, like, we mentioned how just another character like Sharon, like Agatha always portrays her as this, kooky old lady that doesn't know what she's doing, whatever, where she actually has a lot more agency than people let on. Same with Lily, and she says, oh, I'm just a weird old lady, but no, I am powerful as fuck. And she's probably more powerful than all of them, like, especially because I think she even been around longer. So oh my God.
Went down like a G, because she's been here for centuries. And she chose the way she went out. She was like, I'm gonna go out on some swords.
She chose, like, oh my God, that shit is so cold. That goes so hard. Like, that's why it's also difficult to accept that had to happen in that way. But that's how they're tracking as we keep going down the road. And
I just don't know if it was. I'm like, there's something about the Salem 7. I know.
Oh, them niggas ain't dead.
They are not dead.
That they a fox, the rat, and the snake. Like, all that. I don't know what the hell these women are. Again, or things. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. We also really, again, I'm hoping that the rest of the coven, even Sharon, is not really gone. I want to make mention, because you started talking about it, about how everybody was dressed this episode for this trial. So they enter what appears to be, you know, really from Disney, like, you know, the evil witch's castle from like every Disney story, known to man, and then most of them being like Disney characters themselves, right? So, and you mentioned that, you know, at the beginning of the series, how like we're gonna see that played, you know, in terms of the way things look and the way things feel. We're gonna have like Disney thrown in there, and obviously this is, you know, MCU and Disney's all together. Anyway, I love that. It gave, what was that show that used to be on ABC, Enchanted or
Once upon a
whatever?
time.
Once Upon a Time. It gave that, right? So you mentioned Agatha. She was the Wicked Witch of the West, aka Elphaba, right? Then you had Jen, who was the evil queen in the
In
story
her
of,
like hag cosplay.
in the hag costume, right? Because the evil queen is actually a bad bitch. But then she disguised herself as like an old hag that has this poison apple and gives it to Snow White, right? And you know, Snow White with the 7 dwarfs and all that stuff, and then she falls into a sleeping death, right? Then, and again, the idea of death, right? All of these witches have some form of death, right? We know the Wicked Witch of the West gets the house upon her, right? Fine. We get
The Wicked of the East gets a house upon her. The Wicked of the West is the one who's like, I'll get you my little pretty, and then the water.
So isn't that what she is? Yeah. Isn't that what she is, the Wicked Witch of the West?
I think it's the West.
I thought
West is the water
Glenda
one.
is the good witch, right?
Glenda's a good witch.
Of the what? West or East?
I think she's north or south. So I think she's north.
Oh, she north or south?
Mm-hmm. I think the good, quote unquote,
good witch
ones
of the
were north
south.
and south.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Queen of the South shit. Type shit. All right. Yeah. Regardless if it's East or West, homegirl gets the house thrown on her. So that's death, right? So I'm talking about Wizard of Oz, right? And then you have Billy, who is Maleficent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Maleficent, that's her government name. What's Maleficent's
She's the one who
that's Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty, but she's also the one who's like she can turn into a dragon. And
that's the one
by Angelina Jolie. So that was a nod to her whenever Teen said, if the cheekbones fit.
Yeah, like, and Teen looked good. I love this look on Teen. I love
very
that.
ossified. Like the lips were lined.
It was so perfect. I love the make, and I love the makeup, the pieces, the accessories, what do you call those pieces? Prosthetics. Everything that they put everybody was beautiful. And then, are we missing one? Is that, oh no, because there's no Alice. Jesus Christ. But yeah.
And no Toto either.
Okay. So you're talking about, we have Sleeping Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
We have Snow White. We have Wizard of Oz, right? So 2 Wizard of Oz, 2 Disney stuff. And then also the fact that you was talking about this girl falling, that is Alice in Wonderland, right?
But also The Sunken Place.
Oh, The Sunken Place, Jordan Peele. It could be that. It could be everything. Horror. We get it. Just everything keeps tying back to Billy as well. Remember when I said that the road has been a manifestation? Well, when he was William, the road has been a manifestation. The things we've seen on the road, the motifs we've seen on the road has been manifestations of what we saw in what was William Kaplan's room, which was pictures of or posters of like Houdini, magicians, right? Remember, that's the card that was pulled this episode when Lilia was first reading him. Magicians, magic, shit like that. Bet, fine, whatever. There was whole Alice in Wonderland shit. Like everything that you see has been repeated over and over again in some way.
Yeah, the table itself, like that's a set piece that I would, like, if I had the space, I'd be like, can I borrow that? Can I just have it? Because it was the piece that moved clockwise was like a golden ring with black symbols on it, and the symbols seemed to be a mix of zodiac signs and something else I couldn't tell what the other symbols were.
Demonization.
That's what you call them, zodiac to the astrologist. Demons. And then like there's the black inside was moon phases. And so again, playing with that idea of time, and then like where things are within the zodiac or whatever, that's also time related. So I was trying to keep clues into like in forecasting, I guess. And
yes.
Like, so, yeah, it just seems like it was very laid out for Lilia.
Do you remember
basically.
what phase of the moon was on the door or on this trial in this castle? Because remember how they were calling it out before, but they didn't say it this time, but they did show it on screen.
Yeah. I just know last one was Blood Moon because of the tarot card,
Last
and
one was
because
Blood
the door was
Moon.
Blood Moon.
Right.
They didn't say it this time. When
They didn't say it. I
pick
just saw it. But
Yeah.
and the reason why, because towards your point of like trying to discern what's next, it's just like, well, we know the phases of the moon, right? Like it's like the quarter moon, the half moon, the blood moon, I guess, the super moon.
If you look up what's after the Blood Moon, that's probably this episode, and then whatever is after the thing after the Blood Moon is probably our next episode.
Okay.
Or two.
Okay, we on the right track. And then I know this, and also the idea is like the Iron Maiden. I know that was like a torture device in general, like back in the ye olden days and stuff like that. But wasn't that another like way to kill witches as well, putting them in shit like that? And also like things like when you watch like old school shit like Houdini, like how they would escape from places like that. Like they would put the girl in a what we would think was an Iron Maiden, but she would come out unscathed, or Houdini would go in there and he wouldn't be cut up or nothing. Like just to escape death in this way, like where it looks like it's imminent death, but you're escaping it, is a magic trick, right? So they touched upon that over and over again. And now this whole thing with Rio, I'm really what is at the end of the road at this point? I mean, listen, Jen is gone. Next, is next episode a even number? Next episode is an even number. She's gonna make it probably.
It's a double episode. It's a twofer.
It is a two episode. Okay, so maybe the other half episode, she the first half she gone, the second half she come back. I don't know. But then what happens at the end? Like, because that means there's two trials left then, right? Or at least one trial, and then whatever happens at the very finale of the series. What is left?
I feel like it's definitely one more trial. I think it's that scene that we get with the teen and Agatha in the gray room, and Agatha's holding his face. Definitely. I think that's the trial, though. Like, I think that's related to the trial. I still think that there's no way that the Salem 7 rests without having confronted Agatha. It just feels anticlimactic for that to be a thing. I think
for that to be their end.
Yeah.
It's like thank you for slowing them down, but this is the T2s. They not stopping. This is Terminator. They is not stopping. They gonna keep going.
I feel like it's whatever curse that they have. I feel like that's the best part of like some witch stories is when people are so bent on revenge that they like hex themselves into a contract where they literally cannot rest or find peace until they do the thing. And so it's been centuries and they haven't kind of with Agatha yet. And so they're probably tormented souls themselves and they still haven't fulfilled their mission / curse to like get Agatha out of here.
Yeah. And like when Lilia and Jen were first in the tunnels and like they first encountered the 7, was them hoes walking backwards? Like they was walking and I'm just like, well, now wait a minute. Now this is on some Dementor shit. I get it. Y'all on that bullshit. I get it. Y'all on the Eddies. However, is that also just another thing about when they talk about like Lilia says, time don't flow. The flow of time is an illusion, like shit. Like they not of this plane. Like they move into unrealistic for me. Like like it's just it's too much. They're terrifying and it's too much. And maybe that's just all it was. It's just for them to be terrifying. But like, what was that about? Like they looked like they were moving in reverse, and I didn't. Did you peep that?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how much of it was connected to like this being a turning point for Jen, because this whole time Jen has been very selfish in a way that like you can respect. When the protection spell was happening and she was like, "Can you come do that over here?" Like I was like it like I respect, and she was living out like how most people feel inside. It's like I don't want to be bothered with having to like be one of the people who's protecting. I want to be protected. So can you help me out?
Which is I fuck with it. she had a deep change of heart, and that's probably partially because Lilia had a heart to heart with her when she was
Yeah.
lucid in that way. Like, for her to choose, she could have fucking left. The exit was right there, as far as we know. For her to say, okay, once Lily says, you're my sister in this, like, is that all Jen really wants? Jen just wants to be believed and loved, and like, she just wants
Belong.
to belong.
And it was also like, it's like bittersweet that Sharon Davis shared with them that the historical like subway system is there, and that she was right there glimpsing the reality that Sharon shared with them. And she was like, when given the choice, and knowing how Agatha is, and she and Lilia have been the biggest like don't trust Agatha proponents in the show.
Listen. Yeah. And wait, I forgot Sharon told them about the subway?
Yeah, whenever they were in episode 2 when they started, no, it's episode 3 when they started on the road, and she wandered off on her own. She was like, before she wandered off, she was like, I'm part of the Westview Historical Society, and the only thing that should be down here is a subway system. I don't know what y'all are doing. I don't know what you gave me, but where we are, we're just underground. We should only be seeing the subways.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right. Listen, this show just keeps putting it, gives us the answers immediately. And, we catch it late, but we catch it after.
We catch it when they tell us to catch it.
Right. Catch it when you're ready. when you arrive at the destination. And again, the way that they've been dressed throughout this series, the costuming has been on point. And you also made mention just of paying attention to how they keep dressing Lilia and the position they put her in. Like, she's the mother, right? She's the good witch. She's the savior. She's the one that can play all the instruments, all the percussion instruments, right? Like,
she was like, I can do the
right, the little things or whatever. Like, she was truly the glue.
I think it was funny. I think Lilia is making the point that the person that needs to be included on the journey is Jen. That she's the way forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really get to see why she made that proclamation. We just know that she's saying that's Jen. And I think that, I don't know. I really hate that it seems like it really, like, Lilia, Jen, and Alice all deserve better than to be, and Sharon all deserve better than to be the side, like, red shirts on Agatha's journey.
And I'm not looking at them as red shirts, but I hear you. I mean, at least, like, for example, remember last episode, we were like, ain't no way that after sinking through the grass that they're dead, right? They got to be somewhere. So that was a false positive, but maybe this is all part of the trials. And speaking of the trials, it's just like two major things that I wanted to just touch on. Like, we had said this before some time ago. Has Agatha really ever been on the road? Because I know Billy was just clocking her, but I was also just like, well, let's ask that again.
That's
let's
a valid question.
Because the way Agatha be acting like, oh, I didn't know it was gonna happen, and not to say that the road could be different every time, as far as we know, right? It could, as you see, it's manipulative. It conforms to the people who are on there, and it matches the experiences and the powers of whoever is walking it. That, however, it's just like she seems to like not be aware that this shit is coming, or at least not act like she knows this shit is coming. And Billy's just like, well, bitch, why did we follow you here if you don't know what's going on? Have you been there? Didn't we say that? Me and you, we was just like, did she really pass? Or maybe you said it and I just, co-sign. Like, it don't seem like it. What's the truth?
She's, because we know we've, maybe not us all, but a lot of us have been guilty of times of wanting, knowing that we have a skill set and people are looking at us to like pull from a skill set
Mm.
and either being, because like sometimes Agatha herself, talking about Lilia, sometimes Agatha herself has moments where it really seems like them centuries done caught up to her and she'll be remembering things. And it's either the centuries catching up with her or it's her being under Wanda's hex, but she has moments where she's like just not fully present.
Mm.
And I feel like
What do you feel like? And I can see you now, so you're good.
I feel like the thing is that like Agatha, it's like the blustering, like I've got this, like I'm top of it, I'm the leader thing. It's always compensation for an insecurity.
Oh, she's very insecure. Absolutely.
And the way that
as confident as she is, very insecure.
I feel like that's most, people that you see be like the like boisterous person are usually something like very insecure going on there.
Mm.
And when she is talking to Billy initially on the road, and she's like, "You don't have to like try to dig in my brain. I'll just tell you." And it's like, he was like,
bitch, was that nobody was thinking about you? Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
And she keeps saying things like, "Well, I can, just tell me when, just ask me questions." Like, it's like you want to be interesting to him. Like, and it's almost in a way that it's like she wants to be like cool mom. Like the teens find me interesting, but she's also playing like I don't care about what anyone thinks. Right? And it's like you can't have it both ways.
She's very childish.
Yes.
And what you just said is because remember, up until like a couple episodes ago, Billy was all up under her, right? Like, oh, you the main one. Oh, I'm teaching. I'm learning so much, and she's that
Agatha, you the baddie on a continent.
Yes,
like, North America and South America.
And then when the flip happens, and all of a sudden, to your point, he's just like, well, bitch, I guess, and I'm doubting you, and now she's just like, well, you don't like me no more, like she's fishing to try to be that girl again, and at least in his eyes, right? And it could be the whole fake motherly thing, the whole Nicholas Scratch stuff, or it could be her personality and everything else. But it's just, once again, Agatha is deeply complex. Everyone's complex. Agatha is deeply complex.
When people say piece of work, usually I don't like that term because it's usually used against women. But the way that Agatha is very much a piece of work.
Agatha. She called herself a piece of work. She said, if you want a straight answer, ask a straight woman.
Okay. All right. That's a cute one. That's a cute one-liner for your episode.
But like, who thinks of that? But someone like a Agatha, right? Like, nobody thinks about that. And then the second part was the question the internet has, and people in general who are big Wanda fans. Is Wanda alive? Is the Scarlet Witch alive?
Thing about that question. Doesn't matter. Because right now, she has nothing to do with the story, really. So how about we wait until Wanda is relevant before we start asking some questions about whether Wanda is around?
Ooh, not you reading the entire internet, damn Portia.
Because like, here's my thing. Being a divination witch, I like when things come to me, and I don't like really like digging for them, right? And so, the more I dig for something, the more I'm gonna dislike getting the answer without having it revealed to me. Like the reveal is gonna be meaningless because I'm like, oh, I already dug. Like that's not fun.
You're right. I mean, I know like there are a lot of. There's people in general who just want to know what's about to happen next. Like they want to know everything ahead of time. But then to your point, it's like, well, what's the fun in that? Unless it's revealed in a fun way. Like there's certain things about this series that we figured out, right? Mm-hmm. And we knew it was going to happen, or we had a strong indication that it was going to happen. And then it did, but it was still done in a way that it wasn't verbatim what we were thinking, or what exactly we drew out in our mind. And I think that's what also makes it fun. Like, even though people are just trying to figure it out and get to the end before the end happens, I still think the way it's going to be portrayed on screen may still be the fun part.
Yeah, and I think I'm not like a Debbie Downer. Like people can theorize all they want and like have fun. There's fun in theorizing and sharing theories with people, and like I am not against that at all. My thing is and I know there's like people who have a level of anxiety about storylines and they really just want to know. And I'm just like, I don't. So personally, I'm like, because like, let me tell you about the one thing that like really did it for me for canon theories, and very related to the other podcast, Castle Black. It's whenever people had the theory of Jon Snow and Daenerys starting the next Targaryen legacy line or whatever. And
that.
The fan art, amazing, beautiful, wonderful, beautiful gowns. But like, let's be 100%. Like, the way that the show was building up, the way that like we didn't have the full storyline, like we're really just setting yourself up for heartbreak.
That's
and
true.
Nobody wants to be heartbroken over one of their favorite series. It really turns down the amplification of the hype that you had for your favorite series.
So that's what you're trying to say for Agatha.
I'm trying to reserve my heart for how much I've enjoyed this show to not put extra theories in something that might break my heart, you know, if I don't get it or whatever happens.
That's a good point. You're right, Portia. I guess that's why you're the, you know, what do they call it in the land of Game of Thrones? You're the
Maester.
The Maester. You're the Maester. That's right. Speaking of Maester, since you know we're talking about books and shit, Lilia found Billy's book.
And she didn't let Jen know, but that was interesting to me.
Right. She hid it from Jen, which is like, what the fuck did you see? Because you apparently had another That's So Raven event and didn't say anything to nobody. Nobody told me nothing, right? And then, you know, make sure she handed it to him before they left, you know, privately. But first of all, you had your whole thoughts about what the book actually is. Like, it's another type of Darkhold type book, maybe.
It's
I don't
his
know.
grimoire.
It's him grimoire.
Because every witch has most witches, if they're bookishly inclined, they keep their notes about their spells that they create, and once they've been passed to them, their modifications to spells that are popular, they keep that in their own grimoire. So I've seen the way that he's like taking notes, and he's like he looked up the spell to break Agatha out of her delusion in that like notebook. So I'm feeling like that's his grimoire, but it could be that it's actually not just his grimoire. It could be that it's a deeper meaning than that. We mentioned, I think it's Lilia's last name is Calderu, and the Book of Calderu or something like that. And I'm like, I wonder if it's like,
like
she
one of her
picks it up.
Right? Oh, is it like her book? You just said that sometimes these books are passed down.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe like there's a certain reason why she's the one who finds it and holds it in her hand and is the one to give it back to him.
And also, did she write something in there then? Did she give him some information and, you know, some spells or something, whatever the fuck, for him to use later? And why, you know, they made it a point to make sure we saw that, which means it's going to come into play later. Remember, he's still trying to learn his powers. He's still trying to learn how to do the thing with it. And this is his lifeline to help him, Billy, to help him on his path.
It's also interesting that she thought it was important to tell Jen that Teen/Billy/William is
the son of Wanda Maximoff,
of the Scarlet Witch.
She did say Scarlet Witch. You're right. Okay. And we still don't know where the fuck Tommy at.
And one of the cards that was pulled for the Teen's reading was that he was going to have a reunion.
So you think we're going to see that by the end of this series?
We know the reunion he said he wants. We don't know if that's going to be the reunion that he gets. Also, technically, he may have also already had a reunion because he spoke to his uncle.
Oh, yeah. True. And that's close enough. damn, this show is tricky. The road is tricky. And also it's like it's giving like the genie and the three wishes type thing. Like it's like, oh, I'll grant you your wishes, and it's never exactly what you
You
want.
gotta
Like
be
especially
very specific. How
and,
you
and
make
even
them
when you
wishes.
with specifics, that nigga be cheating you, right? Like, so I'm like, is the road like that? Where it's just like, okay, it gives you what you really want, and we still, I mean, he wants his brother. That's what I'm understanding. And that's what I'm saying. Let's just, I think to wrap this up, let's because as really the next two episodes is the end of this, again, season and/or series. Right. What does everybody want? What everyone really actually want, right?
Mhm.
Alice, I guess, she claimed she wanted to find her mother, but it was like she just wanted peace, and I guess she wanted that curse away from her. Was that really the end of
It was
her
the
thing?
end. So that's the thing too, right? Is because we don't know what happened to her for her to lose her place in the police force.
Oh, she was wilding. That's what they said. They said she was a hothead wilding.
We don't know what what made that happen for her. Like, what was she going through? Like, what would happen?
Curse.
Okay, so
the curse is
go?
Part of the reason why she has such a bad attitude going in generals. I believed.
Is that what she wants to go back to? Does she actually? I feel like because it feels like the answer is chosen family. It feels like the answer is the coven for everyone. Like, what is it? Everyone's shared desire, and
like, what did you actually want?
Yeah,
belonging.
Okay.
What do they say that they want though? Like with Alice is Alice. Then I'm gonna say Billy wants Tommy. He wants to find his brother. He wants to know. I mean, he says it in this episode. Who am I?
He says that he doesn't care about Wanda. That
he says that's not my mom. The other lady's his mom. I'm like, girl, let's not kid ourselves.
Thou
like,
doth protest too much.
Yeah. So you don't know who you are, right? So maybe that's what you find out. Agatha, I don't know what she wants. What does Agatha want? Like, besides, she always says, oh, I want my powers back. She's just trying to get back. Is that really at the end what she needs?
I think Agatha is what they've been pointing with us with Agatha's story is that she wants her son or to mentor someone in a way that she would have mentored her son. She wants that dynamic back. Even though she doesn't think she deserves it, and she technically doesn't really deserve it.
That's why she's loving it when Billy is walking behind her like a puppy dog.
Yeah.
Okay, what does Jen really want?
She still doesn't have her power set back, like whatever her like physical defense one is. I think that means that she has to have because she didn't really confront her fear. Whoever
that guy, right? The guy that bound
her, doctor or whatever.
Yeah, that tricked her and bound her.
Yeah, because she was like obstetrics.
Right. So she's still bound.
She's still bound.
Right. So is that really what it is? The
she wants to release her binding,
freedom.
Yeah, but I think that like she's also in legal trouble, so she's gotta figure
to freedom. She wants that
liberation.
She wants that liberation. Okay, and then for Lilia, her whole thing was just because first she said power, and her proctor was like, "No, bitch. What is it really?" And I guess it's to see, right? It was to understand herself.
I think it's a mix of because like I think the thing that Lilia consistently brought up throughout the series is how much people disregard and dismiss and criminalize witches throughout time, and that's how she's been criminalized for just being able to tell the truth about situations. So I think she wants to be able to safely be herself without being like thought of as a doddering old woman who's lost it. Basically, she wants to be able to be her full self, and that includes this part of herself that is traveling in and out of time.
And Miss Ma'am was always offended. The road just kept offending her left and right. It was funny, but it's also like, I feel you. I understand.
Like even in this episode, Jen, she asked Jen what she had on. She was like, I can't even go in there right now.
It's all offensive to me. It's all offensive to witchhood. I get it. And her saying, "Oh, she loved being a witch." Oh, you making me sad again. Oh, I guess just one of the last points I wanted to mention, and if you wanted to have some last thoughts, please share. But just the way this show takes great care into imagery and great care into symbolism and things like that. And that last sequence while Lilia is pulling each tarot card for herself, and it goes back to a scene of the other witches, right? And the witches themselves and herself, they're making up. They're it's a literal characterization of the card, right? Like when they say the Queen of Cups, it looks like a young lady with the yellow dress and a cup, and it's literally that image of her when she was a young girl looking at the tea leaves. And you see things like when they said with the swords in the heart, and you see that image of Agatha with the three, it looks like three swords. They literally portray this in each scene that we've already seen. We've seen all the tarot cards, right? Showing death. They have Rio standing there with the dagger and whatever the fuck else, the green,
her makeup and the
makeup,
look,
the herbs and the hood and all that. Jen, like the way Jen had her hand up and was just like standing there like on some Messiah shit, right? Like they put the level of detail in this show is so beautiful and so amazing, and I'm very appreciative of what they've done so far.
Same. I don't know if you answered, like, you asked me, but I don't know if you said anything about what you think
It's gonna happen.
maybe, yeah, like what you think might be going on with Rio and what you think might happen next with the next 2 episodes.
I'm just as like I have no fucking clue. We talk about the tower reverse and flipping that tower back. I am turned all the way upside down. I have no idea. Like I said, they are pulling again. They're pulling from Marvel comic book lore, but then changing it because you can't follow the exact stuff. So I have no clue. I'm sorry, I'm not like being helpful or useful in that way, but I'm just here for the ride at this point.
I mean, that's the thing though. It's like we're all here for the ride, and I think the best thing about it is that the ride is enjoyable. And that's honestly like what we've honestly been asking for Marvel is like, can we just enjoy the ride again? Because that was what was bringing us here in the first place.
Listen. And then what was at the very end, the song "Time in a Bottle"? That was I've been shazamming every song at the end that does play, the ones that do have new songs at the end of the episode by Jim Croce, "Time in a Bottle." And again, that idea of time and manipulation of time, and yes, it's fit everything with what Lilia said, but also what I said about remember the multiverse is a thing. So keep that in mind. And it's so and so dead. I don't fucking know. Which version are you talking about? Are they really gone? I don't know, girl. Whatever. Is that everything? All right. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. Once again, we've had a blast talking about Agatha All Along. This was episode 7. If you enjoyed what you heard, I know you did because you're still listening to me, please make sure you are doing the needful, meaning make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube so you can see our beautiful melanated faces, youtube.com/forallnerdstv. Make sure you're also listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, For All Nerds, FORALLNERDS. You can follow us on socials at For All Nerds. We're on every platform. You can follow myself, Tatiana King, on every platform. You can follow Portia on Twitter only because she doesn't want to hear from you otherwise, as Portia knows. You can follow my bro, DJ Ben. I mean, congratulations to him on a super successful New York Comic Con. And thank you to everyone who came through. Yes. Ben, I mean, sold out of all of his Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze copies, every single last one off the shelves, off the table. So thank you to everyone who stopped by that booth in Artist Alley. Thank you for the congratulations emojis, Portia. But yes, continue to support Ben Hameen and his endeavors and everything that he is doing because he is winning right now. And you got to be with the winning team, okay? Talking about being with the winning team, appreciate you if you join our Patreon, patreon.com/forallnerds, where you get first dibs access into giveaways, into screenings, and we do Patreon only episodes. So make sure you lock in there. Make sure you also tap into our site, forallnerds.com, where you can get fire merch just like our Gucci Mandalorian shirt or a Lionel shirt or a vast variety of more designs that are coming. And just know that every way that you support us goes right back into this podcast. It goes right back into building us to be great, especially if you are a financial fam. You are literally pushing us towards greatness. Okay. You're helping us do things like put on events, go to different shows and cons and things like that. And really, it's just as you see, it's just goodness all around. Okay. We want to be out there making it work for everybody. So thank you again to the fan fam. We appreciate you. We love you, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Fan Bros, F-A-N-B-R-O-S. Fan Bros, F-A-N-B-R-O-S.
Hey y'all, thank you for watching this For All Nerds video, whatever video it was that you just watched. Make sure you hit these buttons below. Press all those buttons, that like, that subscribe, whatever you see right below these fingertips right here. Just hit them, hit them, hit them.